Hi everyone, welcome back to my Elden Ring series where I make a build for every melee weapon in the game. In today's video, I'll be covering the Bloodstained Dagger. This weapon is a dagger that requires 9 strength and 12 dexterity to wield and inflicts the bleed status effect. It can be acquired by farming the demi-human chiefs that wield them, the best place to do so being in the hermit village on Mount Gelmir. For this weapon, I went with an arcane-based bleed build using 2 power stance Bloodstained Daggers with the occult infusion. And for my Ash of War, I'm using Bloodhound Step. This Ash of War is unique because it gives us an alternative dodge mechanic / mobility option rather than an offensive attack. It can be used mid-fight as a way to dodge with more iframes than the traditional dodge roll and also covers a greater distance. This felt like an appropriate choice for this build as we don't really need any additional offensive attacks considering how fast the dual-wield dagger moveset is on its own. As such, our playstyle relies heavily on overwhelming our enemies with L1 spam, which really allows us to make the most of the bleed status effect. Because the dagger attacks are so quick, this makes them one of the ideal weapon types for any status effect focused playstyle, so we'll be applying bleed very quickly with this build. And with a native bleed on the Bloodstained Dagger, the occult infusion is very strong because it causes both our weapon damage and bleed buildup to scale with arcane. As for our stats, at level 150, my stat spread is 60 vigor, 17 mind, 30 endurance, 10 strength, 12 dexterity, 10 intelligence and faith, and 80 arcane. In my experience, this gives us plenty of health, FP, and stamina for our needs. Of course, arcane is the star of the show here, and going all the way to the soft cap of 80 means our daggers will be absolute killing machines with the occult infusion. For my armor, I chose the full War Surgeon set, which in this case is for both fashion and function. It definitely fits the blood-focused theme of the build, and I like to imagine the Bloodstained Dagger as a surgical knife that a war surgeon would carry that can also double as a weapon. The more practical reason for choosing this set, or at least the headpiece, is that the white mask gives us a temporary damage boost after a nearby enemy suffers bleed, which will be happening a lot with this setup. For my talisman lineup, first off I have the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which has a similar effect to the white mask by boosting our damage after inflicting bleed, and yes, both of these effects stack with each other. I also have the Rotten Winged Sword insignia to boost our successive attack damage, which goes well with our power stance dagger setup because, like I said, we'll be hitting enemies very, very rapidly. Next, I have the two-headed turtle talisman for quicker stamina recovery. You can never go wrong with that. And finally, the last talisman slot is a bit of a flex spot, but I went ahead and picked the Taker's Cameo. This gives us a small amount of health back with every enemy defeated. During boss fights, this is useless, however, so it could be swapped out for something like Millicent's Prosthesis. For the Flask of Wondrous Physic, I'm using the Thorny Crack tier, which has a similar effect as the Rotten Winged Sword insignia, and it stacks alongside it. I'm also using the Opaline Hard tier for extra defense. And that's about all I have to say about this build. Here's an overview of our setup from the menu screen. Thank you for watching, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.